Hi, welcome back to the Elevate Collection podcast. We are so excited to introduce you today to Rebecca Johnston. Rebecca, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
We're so
Happy to have
excited
you.
to,
We're happy that that's it. We're happy to have you.
we are happy to have you. Could you just tell everyone just a little bit about you and who you are and your journey?
Okay, yeah. My name's Rebecca Johnson. I've played hockey since I was 3 years old. I'm from Sudbury, Ontario. Just as a short brief, I have five siblings. We all played hockey, so it was just a big part of our lives. And I was able to go to Cornell University. I've got a scholarship there and played on the varsity team for 4 years, and then made the national team. And I've been on the national team for 16 years now. So I've been to four Olympics. Yeah, I've had three gold medals and one silver medal. And with Canada, yeah, I'm not sure how many worlds, to be honest, but quite a few. So it's been an incredible journey so far for me. And I'm just kind of transitioning out of hockey now, and I'm working with the Calgary Flames in player development. So that's just like a quick brief of what I've been up to and my hockey journey.
We love it. Before we get into all the future stuff, I want to know, where are you at in the five siblings?
Well, I'm the fourth one. So I have two younger brothers. Yeah,
Okay.
there's three and three. So two older sisters, an older brother, and then two younger brothers. Yeah, wild.
Goodness. Do you think that contributed to like your love for the game, like being able to play with each other and like hang like do you think that contributed to
Yeah, I
anything?
think for sure my competitiveness and our love for sports and just trying to be the best we can be in whatever we do. My parents always instilled that in us, like whether it was school, sports, it's you fully commit to it and you give it your all every time. And with my siblings, we've always had a competitive rivalry between all of us, like whatever we did, we always wanted to beat one another. So I think that brought out the competitiveness and will to win and just be the best, really. So that's definitely helped me for sure. My siblings are a huge part of why I've been so successful.
Amazing. So now you said, you're with Calgary Flames. So, but before then, can you tell us a little bit about just your experience? Because now we're talking about how you're transitioning out of it. Can you tell us about what was your life makeup, like your day to day makeup when you're in the sauce, like you're in the thick of a season?
So this is kind of like with the national team, like after college or
I would say just like with the national team,
yeah.
we can start there. We won't take it back to your 3 year old. We'll
Yeah.
start at the national.
Well, yeah, day to day, it was so I couldn't really get a full-time job. Like we were fortunate enough to be able to be paid, so we didn't have to. But you just didn't have the time. I think for me, just in a normal day, if it wasn't a game day, it was you're going to the gym in the morning for a few hours, you're getting treatment, and then you go on the ice for another hour and a half session, and then you're cooling down and you're getting massage, physio, whatever you need, doing video, whatever you need to kind of prepare that week for your games coming up. So I mean, it really is close to a full-time job. So, and especially with travel to game for games and during season. So it was just it was hard to get a full-time job. So this is kind of get sidetracked, but it was hard when you are transitioning out from hockey. It is hard to realize like, okay, now I'm, 35 years old, trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life, right? So that was pretty tricky. But yeah, for me, just during hockey, it was, I would say it's probably been like 8 till 2. You're pretty busy, and then depending on what you have later on at night, and then traveling for games. So it is quite a busy schedule for sure.
Did you have a lot of opportunities to do like marketing and different like side ventures while you were playing, or is that more of a recent development that you're seeing?
Yeah, I like you mean for me personally or just like side jobs?
Yeah, like for you, yeah.
Like side jobs or you mean like sponsorships and stuff like that?
For you, sponsorships and like opportunities to be out in
Right.
the community.
Yeah, there definitely was a lot of opportunities, like being on the national team, but you could see how far women's hockey has come and just women's sports in general with opportunities now. There's so many girls now that I know playing within this PWHL league, so this now professional hockey league that there is going on. There's so many opportunities for these girls to have other support throughout the community. Either they're within the community doing different events or they have sponsorship opportunities, so they're with these big companies that you generally only see like NHL players with prior to this league. And now women are with like BioSteel and Gatorade and all these different companies that you generally wouldn't have seen female athletes in. So it is really cool to see just women's athletes being highlighted more and getting more opportunity, being able to make more money so that they can just solely focus on hockey and not have to get a part-time job just so that they can make ends meet. So it is pretty incredible. And I was lucky I was able to get partner with some really cool companies throughout my career, but I would say there's definitely a lot more opportunity now.
With there being more opportunity and now your new role with Calgary Flames, what are you hoping to be able to champion into the sport? Like, what are you hoping, like, what type of change do you desire to bring?
Well, I think just exposure, right? Females being in these leadership positions in male dominated sports, I think is pretty incredible. So you see a lot more females now in the hockey space. You know, Jessica Campbell is one example of being the first female assistant coach in the NHL, which is remarkable and something like you never would have thought 5 years ago even that could even be possible. So it's incredible to see. And I think just for me being in this space and having the confidence and belief in myself that, you know, I do bring value and I am wanted in more of this male space. I think has been a big step for me, just really believing in myself and betting on myself. And I think that's gone a long way. And I would hope that other females kind of coming up in the ranks and playing in the hockey or in the hockey world that potentially wants to get into within the NHL, either whether it's coaching or on the business side, that they see it and they see that there are females in those positions and that they try to strive for it because I think in the past you never saw it, so you never dreamt it.
With that, like, so you, like, this seems like a beautiful trajectory of like you going from playing to where you're doing now. But for like former teammates and things like that, do you know like what they thought was next? Like, like this feels like a really natural and beautiful transition out of playing, but there's only so many opportunities like that that are going to exist. Like, what do you think like your former teammates or teammates think is next for them?
Yeah, like I kind of mentioned earlier, it's really tough to know when like your whole life has been hockey. That's all you knew,
Yeah.
and now you're trying to figure out this whole other space of the work in the working world where you don't even know like what type of jobs there are. Like I just found for myself when I was looking, like I really didn't know what I wanted to do because my goal for my entire life was I wanted to be a professional hockey player. For the majority of the time I wanted to play in the NHL, which now I realize is unrealistic, but that was a goal when I was a little girl because there weren't very many female hockey players that I could look up to. I never saw them on TV. I didn't have those role models. So I think, yeah, for girls now, I mean, it's amazing that they can make money and play in this professional league. But yeah, like hockey, you can't play forever, unfortunately. And we're not making millions where, you know, once we retire, we can live without worrying about money and having to get another job. So it is tough to know. And I think for me, like the transition from hockey, playing in hockey to now like coaching and being on that side of things has been, I think, an easier transition, obviously, than to going into like marketing or kind of an office job. And like you said, there's not many opportunities. I was pretty lucky with just the timing and who I knew and being able to get into the NHL because yeah, there's very limited opportunity and everyone wants to be able to have a job in the NHL and be able to be a part of it. And so I'm definitely very fortunate and I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't working for the Flames, to be honest. So, yeah, I would say it's really tough for these girls to know, but the one piece of advice I would give was just start looking and start talking to people, making connections with people. Even if it might not be a job that you want, I think it's good to make connections and just kind of explore and see what's out there before you stop playing, just so that you have an idea. Like I started a couple years before I stopped, just getting an idea of what's kind of out there, making connections with different people every time I went to an event. So then you can reach out to them later on and hopefully they can help guide you in a direction of a potential career that you might want.
That's so helpful. Are you implementing like spaces for this in your new role and position to like introduce them to new career opportunities and new mentors and networking events and things like that?
Yeah, I think well, I mean, if people ever reach out to me, I would love to help out. I have had a couple people I've talked to just about my role and what I do. if it's something that they might be interested in. So I love to help whenever I can because I know how tough a position it is. And it's scary and there's so much unknown when you're done playing and your whole identity was a hockey player and now you're trying to navigate this whole other space and you're unsure. So for me, I knew that was scary position for me to quit a sport I loved and then now having to try to figure out something else that I'm just as passionate about. So yeah, I would love to help out as much as I can if girls or hockey players or any athlete has questions about it and helping with that transition. I also had some help with the Canadian Sports Institute in Calgary has this great program where it helps athletes transition from sport to business and where the working world just helps you make connections and get you through it. So that program is also really good for athletes to look into as well.
That's an incredible resource. This whole concept that we're talking about is exactly why we started the podcast because we're really heavy on NFL. So we do a lot in the NFL space, but it's so incredible to hear that these similar talking points and issues transcend all sports. And it's not a male problem or a female problem. Like it's an athlete
Yeah.
situation. Like you spend your whole life training to do this dream thing and then you attain your dreams. Like, how do you transition back into society?
Yeah, I'd say it's not even like you said, it's not even a female thing. Like any male athlete, you're in the spotlight, especially professional NFL. Like, you're used to being this like superstar player, right? And then now you're trying to figure out, oh my God, what do I do next? I'm now not a football player. Like that used to be my whole identity. And so that transition, it is tough and some people really struggle. That's why I advise people to really like start mentally preparing and talking to people and doing that work before you actually retire. I just feel like that helped me. So it wasn't such a shock like, oh, I'm done playing. What am I going to do now? And you're totally just lost and you have no clue what direction you want to go in. So I would just say for the transition part, like it's going to be hard. I think talking to somebody is always beneficial for sure. It's hard and like realize that like every athlete struggles with it. It's that sport has been your life, it's been your passion for so long and when you don't have that anymore, you feel lost, you don't know what direction to go in and so I think really talking to someone helps for sure and then just kind of doing that work before you actually retire. It's good. For me anyway, I like to have like a plan. I don't like all the unknowns. So it's good to know that there are areas where, could potentially go towards after playing. And that's kind of helped me get through it as well. And then me staying in hockey too also helped. Like I'm on the male side of things now, but like I'm still in the game. I love watching hockey. I mean, I love playing, but I love watching hockey and being around it. And so that helped my transition.
I love hockey.
That's good.
I love like the fights getting slammed up against the wall and the aggression. So we live in Georgia. We're based like right outside of Atlanta. We had an NHL team back in the day, but they're talking about potentially putting a new one
Yeah.
in, and we've got our fingers crossed. It's going to be like on the exit that we live on.
Oh,
So
amazing.
we're hoping so we can get
Hopefully,
season.
fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
it's like there's nothing better like going to like your city that you live in, like Calgary for me, it's nothing better going to a game and cheering on a team and being behind them. It's pretty fun. So hopefully you guys get one because it's nice to just have somewhere close to where you can watch some good hockey as well.
Well, we used to live in Colorado too, so we
Yeah,
are not strangers to the Avs, of
right.
course, so being able to see the Avs play was always really cool. And it's such a different culture. We always tell this joke about when we love philanthropy, and so we attended the Mile High Dreams Gala. And it's so funny because like they have like, when you go watch hockey, you've
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
helmets on and stuff. So like you don't really know unless you're like your flagship players, you don't really know who's under the helmet,
Right.
unfortunately, unless you just know your team like that. And so it was so funny because you've got like a lot of the NBA guys, because you've got like what is it, the Rapids, the Nuggets,
The mammoth.
Mammoth, and then the Avs, right? So they're all there. It's this gala that the Cronky Sports does within all those teams there at the Ball Arena, and none of the like NBA players had, and everyone knew who they were, right? I mean,
Right, yeah.
huge. So like everyone knew who they were, but it was so funny because to differentiate everybody else, everyone had like their team pin on, and that's how you knew it was
Okay.
a player. So it was just something well fun. Our hockey experience in
Right.
Denver was
It's
But it was
that's a
crazy because the NBA players were, like, swarmed, and all the hockey guys were, like, chilling in
hanging out.
chairs. No one was with them but the people they were with. They were just
they
drinking
probably
beer, like,
love
having a
that,
good
yeah. If
time.
they were in Canada, that'd be a different story, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I bet.
hockey
I have
is
a
the sport for sure in Canada.
in Canada. I guess hockey in Canada is probably like, American
100%,
football
yeah,
is to North
yeah.
America. Um, a question about being in sports, obviously, like you're a little different because you're an actual athlete. Jordan's an athlete. She's been hopping fences lately, but that's a story for another episode. We won't have to go into Jordan hopping fences. Hey, nobody was harmed in her
Okay,
fence
good,
act
yeah.
jumped. There's police were not called. I mean, she was kind of harmed, but she'll be fine. But police were not called. Everybody's fine. But when you're out with your friends, your family, anything like that, do you find it difficult not to talk about your sport? Like, what is the topic of conversation? Or do you hate when people are like, or like, do you love, is it difficult for you not to talk about it? But is it also like, gosh, can we just not talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I love talking hockey. I don't love talking about myself. So, like, if it was about, like, the NHL or, like, I love talking hockey and anything but me, like, but when people are always asking about me, which usually comes up, then that's when I start to get a little uncomfortable and rather talk about something else. But yeah, I try not to bring it up too much because it's good to get away and talk about other things. And but people just generally like, since they know what I do and what I've done in the past with my playing career, that they love to ask questions and talk about it. So I'll do that for sure. But I prefer not to talk about myself.
Did you ever have a fake job?
A fake job?
Yeah, like, you get in an Uber and they're like, "Oh, or what are you here for? What do you do for work?" You know, a stranger on the street, a stranger in a bar is like, "What do you do for work?" Were you like, "Oh, I'm in construction," or,
You know what? I should have done that because I've had that so many times and I get so awkward and then I try to avoid it, or I just go, oh, I just play hockey, or like I try to like dumb it down a little bit and make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. But usually then people, you know, start to pry and ask more questions. So you're right. I should have had like a fake job just in the back of my mind,
Now,
just being able to avoid all the questions. But sometimes if I just say, oh, I play hockey, then they don't ask any further questions. But for the most part,
now you got to think of one. What would it be?
I'd be nervous to say like a doctor or something because then they'd start asking specifics and then I wouldn't know like what kind of doctor I am. I should have just said like, yeah, I'd probably say like in marketing or something. Yeah, probably like an easy answer.
I can't even think of the last ones that we've used. Or
I
Is
can't
that something
remember.
you guys do all the
tech.
time?
It's just
Now and
funny.
then. I
Yeah.
mean, you know how it is as, like, a female in sports, right? Like, the vast majority of people we work with are
Yeah.
professional athletes. So then they're like, "Oh, you're in sports? Like, can you give me game tickets? Can
Yeah.
you give me an auto" like, we have a really funny intersect, so we do, like, real estate and sports, and we, like, help professional athletes relocate all over the country,
Okay,
and we have,
cool.
like, a concierge business and marketing and stuff through that. But we did a real estate deal, and one of the agents on the other side, like, emailed me out of the blue and was like, "Hey, someone in my office is a huge Falcons fan. Can you get me an autograph?" And I'm like, "Bruh, no." Like, okay,
Yeah.
no. I don't we don't ask people for autographs, like, that's why we do this.
Honestly, like I hate doing that. I always get asked for either favors or for like me to go do something. And me is fine, but to like get other people's autographs or like, get an autograph on the Flames. And I'm like I just can't do that. I'm not gonna be that person that, chases them down to try to get an autograph. But no, I totally understand that feeling.
So sometimes it's just easier, like, if we're out in a bar, they're like, "Oh, what are you here for?" And we're like, "Oh, a crafting
Yeah,
conference."
yeah,
"Oh, we're here for work," like, we're in
yeah.
sales, well, and then maybe you get this too, but, like, when you tell someone that you're a woman in sports, they're like, "Oh, like, what do you even know about sports?" And or, like, then they start schooling you on sports, and I'm like, "I don't need you to, like, tell me what a running back's job is," or, like, you probably don't need them to, like, school you on hockey
Yeah, no,
or,
yeah.
like, doubt what you know.
Definitely got that. I mean, I'm sure you get that. Like at least there's more females and stuff in the game now. And the women's side has really skyrocketed to the last few years. Like there's just a lot of girls playing hockey now. So I would probably say wouldn't get that as much now, but there's definitely times where people are like, "Oh, you're in hockey, and then they don't really think you know too much about it, right? And so anyway, it is funny.
Question, you're our first Olympic athlete. Like, what was it like to just get a medal and then come home?
And come home. You're right. That's a good point.
There is like, they say the Olympic blues after, so there's definitely, I definitely felt that, like, you're on such a high for so long, kind of leading up to Olympics, and you make the Olympic roster, so it's really exciting, and then you go to the Olympics opening ceremonies, you win, yeah, you go through all the games, and then you win a medal, which is like, the most amazing thing. Like, it's hard to even describe the emotion that is behind that when I get that medal around my neck, and just so much pride for your country. And then, yeah, the closing ceremonies, and it's just all so exciting. You meet so many incredible athletes, and then you get home, and yeah, it's like a whirlwind. You're just like, usually in Canada, because it's such a huge deal, hockey, like, you're pretty busy with events, and you're celebrating. For the first month, it's not as bad. Like, you're still on a high. You get to celebrate with your friends, your family. Usually, you could do a bunch of different events. Like, you go to hockey games, you're recognized. Kind of all over the country. So it is a pretty fun time. But then after that is when it kind of dies down a bit, and you're a little bit, yeah, you're I would say you're down, and it's not depressing, but you obviously wish you were still at the Olympics and get to experience all that. And you never know if you'll be able to go again, right? Like, making it the Olympics once is hard. Being able to go more than that is, it's definitely very few people get to do that. So it's very unknown, and so you want to try to embrace everything and take it all in when you can. And so when it's over, it's definitely a little bit sad for sure for a bit, and then you kind of get back into the routine of things again. And then your goal is to make the Olympics in another 4 years. So then you start working towards that again.
When you got your first medal, was that like a I made it moment for you, or had you had that experience prior to that?
Yeah, I would say making the Olympic team. So
Mm.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but for the Canadian national team, first off, before the Olympics, we have a boot camp. So it's like a month and a half long of we all
Huh.
get together in an area in Canada, and it always changes. And it's basically kind of how it sounds. Like, we're working out all day, we're doing like tough activities, teamwork stuff. And it's literally from like 7 till like 7 at night. It's like all day. You're pretty exhausted by the end of this month and a half, but you really learn a lot about your teammates, and pushing yourself physically, mentally is pretty exhausting. So we do that. And then we go home for a month and a half. And then in August, we all moved to Calgary, Alberta, and we train from August till January, and then we leave for the Olympics. So it's like a tryout process. So there's about 28 of us that are asked to centralize, it's called. And so we all move to Calgary, and only 23 make it. So there's about, six to seven cuts throughout the year that they're cut from the team, and they won't be going to the Olympics. So it's definitely a very stressful time, because you're just evaluated each and every day. Like, you're with the team always, so you have to be on. Feel the pressure of playing well, trying to make this team. Um, so going throughout all of that, and then making the team. So they pick the team right before Christmas. Like, once you make that team, you're like it's just like, I guess, relief, but
Right
then
before
also, like, you're
Christmas?
just so proud, because it's just such a tough 6-7 months of working every day, like, just trying to make this team and wanting to go to the Olympics. And so I think that was a moment. My first time, I just turned 20, um, and I remember I walked into the room. It's just one-on-one meetings. So you walk into the room, and everyone else is waiting in the dressing room, and like one-on-one you go, and then you kind of exit a different way so no one sees anybody. Like, 'cause if you get cut, it's pretty upsetting, like, that you're
Not a
obviously
great.
devastated. And so anyway, so I remember going into my meeting, and it was pretty short. They told me I made the team, and I just instantly started crying, because at that before the tryout, I really didn't think I was going to make it. I was young, and I just thought it would be kind of a good experience, but I really didn't think I was going to make the team. And so being able to go through that whole tryout process and then making that team, I remember I called my parents right after, and my dad started crying, and he never cries. Like, he's like a tough dad, but he was just so proud. So yeah, my parents, I mean, my mom cries all the time. So she yeah, yeah.
Hey,
So they both were so happy for me, and that was kind of the moment where like, oh my god, I did it. And that was kind of, I would say that was probably my most proudest moment too, because it's just such a tough year, and especially so young. Like, you learn so much about yourself, and I had a lot to learn with just like the mental side of it, being able to push through adversity, stuff like that. So yeah, I would say that was probably the moment. Then obviously a cherry on top when I was able to win a medal. Pretty remarkable.
Thank you for sharing that journey with us. We had no idea, and that sounds very intense.
Yeah, it's definitely intense. You also play a bunch of games too throughout that process. So it's like 50 some games in that short amount of time. So yeah, it's pretty grueling. Yeah.
That's gotta be hard on your body.
Yeah, it's
Sad.
hard to do now when you're a little bit older, right? So you don't recover like
Well,
you
you
used
have
to.
the con
that's the truth in
wow.
all arenas.
Yeah,
That is the truth.
I
exactly.
was gonna say we feel that in
Yeah.
day-to-day life.
Exactly.
Well, you have just accomplished so much, and you're so incredible, and you're such a great champion for your sport. You are now kind of living like a more like normal life. You know, you're still in sports, you're still getting to do the things that you love, but you've also had some like exciting, fun life updates to look forward to. So, what have you had going on here recently?
Yeah, I feel like I've done some big life changes in the last like couple years. Just quickly, my husband and I bought a house. Well, we got married in July, and then just had a
Congratulations.
baby in March. So doing all the things. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah. So she's 2 months,
Mama
just over
in
2 months.
sports, that's next
Pardon?
level. Said a mama in sports is next
Oh
level.
yeah.
It's one thing to be a woman in sports, now you're a mama in
I know. I've
sports.
realized it's a lot of planning, like even planning for this podcast. I was like, when is my husband gonna be home? Because I don't know when she's gonna cry.
It's
Yeah,
nap
like there's no
time.
nap time yet. So she's all over the place.
Are there
Listen, we're in summer, we're starting the summer throes, and we've got little ones, and so we're just like, "Please, like, nobody kill each other while we're
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
podcast." So, like, please, we're
yeah.
just asking,
I can
please.
hear her crying a little bit downstairs, so I'm like, oh, hopefully she's fine.
we're wrapping
No,
up
she's with
soon.
my
Is there
husband, so
any
it's fine.
advice?
Yeah. I didn't leave her alone.
You're getting a little break, is
Yeah,
what you're
exactly.
saying. You're like,
Keep me
it's
on
fine,
long.
it's fine. Is there any advice you have for moms in sports?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm very new to the whole mom thing. I just had my first Mother's Day, but I haven't been a mom for too long. But I'd say just like take care of yourself as well. Like even what I've noticed in the last couple months of being a mom is just like you can get so carried away and just being so in, obviously you love your child and you want to give them everything, but like you need to also take care of yourself. So whether it's, your husband take your kid for a little bit and you go get a massage, or, go for a walk, or just do something, and just some time for you, and I think is important, I think, and especially something I'll want to do throughout when she's young, obviously even when she gets older. But like for Mother's Day, I was able to get a massage on Mother's Day, which is really nice. And it's just like a good reset. Or just being able to see, some friends, or I'd say, but for athletes that are mom, like I guess I'm not playing anymore, so it'd be hard to say, but just really just kind of embrace the time you have with your child, because they don't stay that young forever, right? Like they go through all the stages, and you don't want to miss everything. So really embrace that time with them, and then when you're doing your sport, really be in the moment and be there, and embrace that as well. But trying to juggle both is definitely very hard. So I could see how it's could be very mentally and physically draining for sure.
Now that you've given some advice and you've given some gifts and some wisdom, can you tell us and tell the community if there was anything that someone else could do that's listening to this podcast to help move your needle forward, what would that be?
But I just think, just like with going with the theme, just like women in sports, I just think for women's hockey, for instance, this professional league, just anything people can do to really move the female game forward, and female athletes in general. I think you know they deserve to make a living and playing the sport that they love. And I just think it's so important to have that media space and that attention for female athletes. I didn't have it when I was younger playing. I didn't have those female role models. So now it's really, really important, I think, to continue to try to move the game forward. So I think any way we can to, have more podcasts and get female athletes on, exposing more of them, because I think it's just so important to have your face out there and be known, and um, try to help the female game as much as we can, just as a society and the media, and just continue getting that attention. I think it's really important.
We love to hear it.
And we are happy to support you in any way. So if you know any amazing females who want to be on the podcast, let us know. We're happy to showcase them and just tell more of these stories, right? Like it's so incredible to hear the journey, and we're a little biased. We have an all-female team, but like women just work
Sorry,
so
not
hard.
I know
sorry.
women are just incredible. Like I even just being a mom and trying to do everything. Like it's crazy what women have to do to um just stay afloat, just being. But there are, like, just a quick story, like before the PWHL, there's another league I played in. It's called the CWHL, so the Canadian Women's Hockey League, and so I was playing in that, and we weren't really getting paid much at all. And so if you weren't on the national team, you weren't really getting any income, so you had to have a full-time job. So majority of my team had a full-time job, and then we'd come to practice at night, and then would travel on the weekends, and then get home like super late Sunday night, and then go back to work. So I don't even know how they did it, honestly, like working full time and then competing professionally as well. I think it was just incredible to see so many women wanting to continue to play the sport that they love and having to sacrifice so much. Like they didn't have any social life besides hockey and work, right? And I mean, if you had a family and stuff, I don't see how you could do that. So anyway, it's just something that I wanted to say because I thought that was incredible to see. And that now obviously we don't have to worry about that as much, right? With this professional league, you get paid and don't have to work and have a full-time job. The things we did in the past, right, to be able to continue to play the sport that we love, and it's pretty remarkable. And so I give a lot of props to those girls that had to put in the time like that.
Amen.
Big prop. Well, cheers to seeing the change and helping women grow and helping women succeed and shine a light on their platform and their sport and all the success and every little thing we can do to forward that mission, because that's something that's important to us too.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's really important. So happy to hear it.
Rebecca, it was so lovely talking to you. Like it just so incredible hearing the journey of like another powerful woman.
Thank you.
Amen. My share. Of course, this is
Sorry.
how it happens. A mama being a mama, a business owner, doing all the things at the same time. It's what we do, how we do it. But we really appreciate you being on the podcast and taking the time out of your day away from your baby to tell how your influence is meeting your legacy. And we're really proud of you. And we're excited to see where things
Thank
go.
you. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on.
Of course.
We'll chat soon.